Good day, everyone. You are welcome to this week's Business and Investment Tips program, a production of Christ Church Radio. My name is Ayodeji Ebo, an investment professional. This week, the focus is on understanding Nigeria's Q4 2020 unemployment numbers. The National Bureau of Statistics last week published the fourth quarter 2020 unemployment data. Nigeria's unemployment rate came in at 33% in Q4 2020 compared to 27% in Q2 2020. However, the underemployment rate decreased from 29% in Q2 2020 to 23% in Q4 2020. The summation of both unemployment and underemployment translates to 56%, implying that 39 million persons were either underemployed or unemployed. This shows the devastating impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the Nigerian economy, as businesses are still operating at suboptimal levels. A person is regarded as employed if he or she is engaged in the production of goods and services, thereby contributing to the gross domestic product (GDP) in a legitimate manner, which is a component of the national account and receives any form or amount of compensation for that activity. The unemployment rate is calculated as a percentage of the number of the unemployed divided by the labor force population. An individual is classified as unemployed if the person was actively looking for work but could not find work for at least 20 hours in 7 days. The labor force covers all persons aged 15 to 64 years who are willing and able to work regardless of whether they have a job or not. Moreover, an individual is classified as underemployed if the person works less than 40 hours but at least 20 hours on average a week, and or if you work full-time but are engaged in an activity that underutilizes your skills, time, and educational qualifications. The report estimated that the working age population or economically active in Q4 2020 was 122 million, 4.3% higher than the 117 million recorded in Q2 2020. A further breakdown shows that female represent 51% of the working age population or 62 million persons. By age group, ages of 15 to 34 represent 55% of the total labor workforce or 30 million persons in Q4 2020. This further corroborates the youthful demography of the Nigerian population. The number of persons in the labor force was estimated at 70 million, that is those willing to work out of the total working age. This implies that only 57% of Nigeria's economically active population are in the labor force. In Q3 2018, this ratio was 78%, suggesting that many adults of working age are out of the labor force. There was no explanation for the reduction in the number of people in the labor force by 23% between Q3 2018 and Q4 2020. The age bracket of 25 to 34 was the highest with 20 million persons or 28% of the labor force and with an unemployment rate of 37%. The labor force with senior secondary school certificate (SSSE) ranked the highest with 22 million persons or 31% of the labor force and with an unemployment rate of 37%. This was followed by the group with no qualification, which accounted for 29% of the labor force and with an unemployment rate of 28%. This speaks to the lack of access to primary education in Nigeria and the need to intensify effort in ensuring that more Nigerians have access to basic education. Based on the data, there are about 12 million people who did not work within the period, which could explain the high insecurity and crime rate in the country. To reduce unemployment in Nigeria, job creation must be larger than the number of people entering the labor force every year. This can only be achieved by the private sector. Hence, government should ensure the operating environment is suitable for businesses. The agri sector generates the most jobs and has the highest capacity to generate more, given the huge food gap in Nigeria and the large number of unskilled labor. However, for more effectiveness, the problem of insecurity and weak productivity have to be curtailed. Also, the manufacturing and ICT sectors are also job elastic sectors with more focus on micro, small and medium enterprises. But a robust master plan with incentives for investors should be considered. Thank you for listening. Please join us same time next week for another interesting and insightful session. For comments and feedback, kindly forward to ccradio@rccgchristchurch.org or send SMS to 07082463747. Stay blessed.